Hey everyone, I'm really excited today. I just found out that I might be going on my very own DC20 adventure. I've been running DC20 for the last year and a half, and in that time, I've only had the opportunity to play one campaign of DC20. It seems like I may be able to go on an adventure through Lost Mines of Phandelver, an adventure that's near and dear to my heart as I've run it 7 or 8 times now, including twice in DC20. So as you can see by the graphic on the screen here, I figured I would talk through the process of the character that I want to play in this adventure of Lost Mines of Phandelver. Being that I've run through the adventure 7 or 8 times as a GM, I figured I didn't want to take the spotlight from the other players in the game, so I decided to play a support character where I can support the other players in being able to make the decisions and be the heroes while still being able to experience the game as a player. So my goal was to make a commander, an intelligence-based commander that would be focused on analyzed creature. I love analyzed creature, and anybody that's stuck around this channel for a while knows how much I suggest that people utilize analyzed creature more, especially in my games. I like to make my monsters dynamic where they have interesting things that you might want to find out about them. We're going to look at the player creation guide, and the first thing that we need to do is the standard array. We're going to put a 3, a 1, a 0, and a -2 into our 4 attributes. So we know that our prime is going to be 3. I want the character to be intelligent, so we're going to put our 3 into intelligence. Now the next thing is, which one do I want to put the 1 into? I think I want to put the 1 into might, because I'd like a little bit more hit points, and I kind of see the character in that way. He's also going to be in heavy armor, heavy shield, so he's going to have disadvantage on agility anyway. So I think we're going to be might focused as a secondary attribute. We're going to put the 0 in agility because while I don't see him as being very agility focused, I don't see him being necessarily into the negatives on that. And then charisma will be our -2. So I considered smoothing out my charisma, but I think I'm good with this character being kind of not necessarily the most smooth or suave character. So I'm going to leave the charisma at -2 and put those 2 +1s into might, which will give a 3 might. So that next step was to do the saving throws. So we're going to add our combat mastery, which is 1. So that's going to put our might save to 4, our agility save to 1, our charisma save to -1, and our intelligence save to 4. Alright, so now for step 3, which was background, skills, trades, and languages. So we get 5 skill points, 3 trade points, 2 language points, and we get a bonus to our skill points equal to our intelligence modifier. So we're going to get 8 total skill points. Now this was something that I really wanted to showcase here, was how I wanted to build out the character based on analyzed creature. So what I did is I picked the skills that I really wanted to have, which are investigation, survival. I feel like those 2 are probably important. I mean, medicine, it can be important, but I didn't want to monopolize any more than what I absolutely needed. Athletics, because martial checks is going to be my best out of athletics or acrobatics, so I want to be good at least one of those. Awareness, because awareness is usually pretty good. And in actuality, that is all of the skill points that I put into those. Then I came down here and started trading them in for skill trade points. So I spent 1, 2, 3, 4 points so far. I have 4 more. They're worth 2 points down here. So this is 5, 6. If I do that and then give myself expertise, that's 7. And then that plus expertise in occultism is 8. So to look at that, these two cost me 1 skill point. These two cost me 1 skill point. These two cost me 1 skill point. And then the 2 expertise cost me a skill point. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is all of my skill points. Then I have my 3 trade points, which I would do 1, expertise 2, 3. So what this has done for me is my bonus for religion is going to be +7, occultism +7, nature +7. I'm not going to fill in history or arcana yet because I am going to improve those, but I'll show you where and how I'm going to do that. At least one of them I'm going to improve. So the reason for this is you get +2 for each bubble. The expertise lets me go up to 2 bubbles. Normally you could only have 1 at level 1. So that's 4 plus my 3 is 7. The other interesting thing with DC20 and the analyzed creature is that the DC is always 10, just to get the basic lore info, and then you get stat block info at by 5, so 15, 20, and so on. I don't know if the GM of this game is going to run it the way that I do, where once you make that DC 10, I start giving stat block info at 10 on future checks, just because I think once you get the lore, you should be able to start getting stat block stuff at that base DC of 10. However, with the +7, I should be able to meet that DC 10 very easily, and very likely even 15 or higher. So my survival is going to be +5, investigation +5, medicine +3, insight is going to be -2, influence -2, animal -2, stealth is going to be 0, trickery and acrobatics 0, and intimidation is going to be 3. Now I'm not going to fill in athletics yet because I'm going to also bump that up, but you won't see that until we do the ancestry stuff. So, and then my awareness is also 5, 3 plus my training novice. Alright, so we did the skills, we did the trades, 2 language points. I know my character is going to be half elf, half human, so I'm going to take fluency in Elvish. Anybody that knows how I've built characters in the past knows I usually like to take other trades, and I also like to trade in at least 1 trade point for 2 language points to try to get some languages that I'm only limited fluency in, because I think that the language checks in DC20 is a really cool mechanic that I like engaging with. However, on this character, I really want to nail those analyzed creature checks, so it was important to me that I was expert in most, if not all, of the knowledge skills. Alright, so looking at the next step, we have health points. So I know I'm going to be a commander already, and I know I'm not going to have ancestry things for that. I'm actually kind of surprised that Ancestry was not already listed as a choice, or your class. But I know I want a half-elf commander, so the commander gets 9 hit points, plus my might, so that's going to give me 12 hit points, so we'll fill that in. My max is 12. Okay. My bloodied is going to be 6, and my well bloodied is going to be 3. So bloodied at half, well bloodied at a quarter. I do like that that's added on the sheet because, especially well bloodied, it can be a little bit harder to figure out on the fly. Alright, so we did our health points, stamina and mana points. So I know this character is going to have 0 mana points, and he's going to have 1 stamina point, being a commander. Okay, next step, defenses. Looking at the armor, this is what I've figured out. I have picked out a heavy armor with +2 PD, +2 AD, -1 speed, and disadvantage on agility checks. And then heavy shield with +1 PD, +2 AD, and disadvantage on agility checks. Yes, that's going to be double disadvantage as a baseline for my agility checks. The other thing that I figured is I didn't want to take another speed penalty for that +1 PD, because I've already taken a speed penalty, dropping me down to 4 spaces. Did not want to go down to 3 spaces. So I also have a guard weapon, which that guard weapon will give me, I figured, that extra 1 PD that I'm missing from the shield. So what I end up with for PD is 8 base, +1 for combat mastery, that's 9, +3 for my agility and intelligence, +2 for my armor, +1 for my shield, +1 for my guard weapon, gives me a PD of 16. And then my AD, area defense, I have base 8, +1 for combat mastery, +1 for might and charisma, +2 for armor, +2 for my shield, giving me a 14 AD. Now my heavy then is going to be 21 on PD and 26 on for brutal, and my area defense heavy is going to be 19 and brutal is going to be 24. Alright, so defense is figured out. Combat modifiers. So this is a whole bunch of basic things. Attack spell check at level 1 is +4. Save DC is 14. Martial check is the highest between athletics or acrobatics. Death threshold is -4. Move speed is 5. Jump distance equals agility. Rest points equals my maximum hit points. And grip points is 2 plus charisma. So we're going to fill in all of this stuff. So rest points equals my HP, which is 12. Grit points is 2 plus my charisma, which is -2, so I have no grit. Very opposite the character that I played the last campaign that I had the opportunity to play in, where I played a Spellblade and he was charisma focused, so he had high grit points. I think he had like 5 grit points, but he was low intelligence and only had 3 skills, and that was terrible. You don't realize how quickly those skill points go when you only have 3 until you try to pick which 3 you want. Alright, so his move speed is going to be 4 because of the heavy armor. His jump distance is going to be 1 because 1 is the minimum. Attack check is +4. Save DC is 14. That's 10 plus combat mastery plus prime. Initiative is combat mastery plus agility, so that's going to be 1 + 1. Alright, what else did I need to fill in from that? Jump distance, rest points, grip points, move speed, death threshold. Alright. Death threshold is -4. Prime and combat mastery. Hold breath, I think, is might. I'm going to put that in there as 3. Step 8 is ancestry. I do have to question that. I think that ancestry maybe should be earlier on this list, especially because, you know, some of these other options reference your ancestry, like filling in your hit points, and even like your defenses. You might have bonuses to your defenses based on your ancestry traits, but I guess you could go back and fill those in. But again, I said we were going to do a half elf, so what we're going to do is take the following ancestry feats. I'm going to put them down here in features so that you can see them. We're going to take trade expertise. Choose a trade. Your mastery cap and mastery level in the chosen trade increases by 1. So the trade is going to be history. So history is going to become expert, and we're going to get to fill in the next bubble. So you see now we have +7 in history as well. I don't have a way currently to increase Arcana without dropping survival, investigation, athletics, or awareness. So I'm actually just going to let Arcana go and not bump it yet. But I can say as soon as I get a skill point, I'm probably putting it in there to make that expert and getting the expert. So that's likely what I'm going to do. For now though, it is +5. So that is here, trade expert. The next thing that we're going to do is nimble. That's not going to do anything on the sheet, but when we take the dodge action for a single action, we're going to get full dodge instead, which is going to be the 5th edition equivalent of dodge. So very good. Skill expert. So this is why I was saying about our athletics was going to improve. Choose a skill. Your mastery cap and mastery level in the chosen skill both increase by 1. You can only benefit from one feature that increases your skill mastery at a time. So we're going to take expertise in athletics, fill in that extra bubble. We're going to have +7 in athletics. Now, I could have maybe used this. Let me see. Your mastery cap, the chosen skill, both increased by 1. So I could have given myself expertise in athletics and used this to gain that first bubble, and then spent the point that I put on that first, down here to gain the expertise. But I think it's important to be as good as you can in either athletics or acrobatics as early as possible, because you use it for a lot of things. Anything that calls for a martial check, anytime that you want to escape a grapple or something, or if you wanted to do grappling, you need athletics. Or at least acrobatics if you're going to try to get out of grapples, or use it for other martial checks. So we're really good at our martial checks. We're really good at recall about analyzing creature. Alright, continuing on, the level 0 ability we took from the elf. You have advantage on checks and saves made to discern through visual illusions. Oh, and then Inspiring Presence is actually from the commander. So we're going to get the following other things. I'm just going to copy and paste them in now, because there's no sense in waiting. We're going to get Commander's Call, which is going to let us spend 1 stamina and an action point to issue a command to one of our allies to either make an attack with advantage without costing them any resources, but they also can't spend any extra resources on that attack, or to have them move. I believe they also get a free disengage on that, or to have them take full dodge. So this is going to allow me to play support and really help the other characters shine, which is what I wanted to do, as well as finding out information about the enemies and being able to share that info with the party. So I'm hoping that I have really good support built in here. And then the other thing that we're going to get is that Inspiring Leader, or Inspiring Presence, where when we spend stamina, it's going to be able to heal an ally within 5 spaces. So I can't overstate how useful this healing a rider on stamina use is. I've seen a lot of players make very good use of this. In fact, I did when I played my Spellblade. This was what I spent my level 2 talent on. Natural Leader is the flavor feature for the commander, and again, it kind of builds into that recall knowledge, analyze creature, knowing the battlefield, knowing your enemy. You have 4 maneuvers as the commander, so I took parry, raise shield as 2 defensive ones, and then expose and bleed as my other 2 options. Bleed I find to be very useful against like animals and things. Again, I don't know how the GM is going to run it. For me, I don't typically let animals make medicine checks to heal bleed because, I mean, they aren't that intelligent. I might have a more intelligent animal, like maybe use medicine and roll on the ground to try to like, like staunch a wound or something with the dirt or something. I don't know, but usually bleed is pretty devastating. And expose just works with the weapon that we're going to choose, which is a short sword. I want the guard property and I want impact. So for us, the short sword is the best. We did our ancestry stuff. I'll just point out too, actually. So trade expertise cost us 1 of our 5 ancestry points. Nimble cost us 2 of our ancestry points. Skill expertise cost us 2 of our ancestry points. Nimble came from elf. Skill expertise came from human. Trade expertise could have come from either or. I'm going to say that it came from human because our discerning sight came from elf, and then we got 2 features from each of our ancestry. Alright, continuing on. We have our class. I've already filled in all the class details, so no need to do that. We did our class features. Weapons and inventory, that is the final step. So, what I've done with this character is we're taking a short sword, as I've already mentioned. Short sword deals 1 damage. It is slashing, and it has the following properties: guard and impact. And we're going to take a heavy crossbow because the commander gets 2 weapons and or shields. So we're going to take the short sword and a heavy shield, and then you get 1 ranged weapon. We're going to take the heavy crossbow. We don't really care too much about the reload. We're not going to be making multiple attacks with it in a turn anyway. Having to reload it kind of is it is still a drag because it's 1 action that we can't spend on other things. But truthfully, I don't see myself really wanting to be the one making the attacks. I want to be using Commander's Call to let other people attack, and then using help to regain my stamina. And I could see myself using Commander's Call every turn, and possibly 2 times a turn if I can regain my stamina easily enough. Now level 2, the commander gets their Commander's Aura, which makes regaining your stamina much easier because you can provide the help action at a range of up to 5 spaces, and you can do so as a reaction when somebody's making an attack. So it should be very easy to regain my stamina at that point. For the level 1, it's going to be a little bit harder, but I think it's still fine. But what I could see is if I am in the back and I'm just like commander calling some, then maybe I want to use the crossbow. So, it's got good damage at 3. 3 base damage. And then maybe I use Commander's Call, reload the crossbow, and dodge. Maybe that's my turn. Shoot. So shoot, reload, Commander's Call, and dodge. So it's a pretty good turn, I think. Largely, though, I think I would be more with the short sword and the shield. Up in the fray somewhat with the others, but I would still want to use Commander's Call and have them be the stars. And the properties of our heavy crossbow are a lot. 2-handed, ammo, unwieldy, reload, and heavy. And the damage is 3, and it's piercing. So the downside, though, to using the crossbow, which is another reason that I don't think that I would really be using it, is two-handed. So it means not only am I giving up the +1 from my guard weapon, I'm also giving up +1 PD from the shield, plus +2 AD from the shield. Yeah, my PD drops to 14 and my AD drops to 12. So 14 and 12. So I really don't want to give up that shield, and I don't want to give up the guard weapon. But I will say that another reason that I picked my properties on my armor and shield the way that I did, I'll do one more thing to show you. I'll actually copy it down to here to carried. This was the best place to put it so I could have it. But my heavy armor is +2 PD, +2 AD, -1 speed, disadvantage on agility. I could have done it backwards and put the +2 PD, +2 AD, -1 speed, disadvantage on agility on the shield, and then had the armor be, without the -1 speed, meaning that I could ditch the shield and have my speed increase by 1. But the downside to that is the shield is something that I can't wield with the crossbow, and if I'm not wielding the shield, I lose, all of those benefits. Now granted, I am also losing that +1 PD from the guard weapon in that case. So I don't know, maybe I would be better off having that -1 speed on the shield instead of on my armor. But I don't know, I was happy with it the way that it is. If you have any opinions on that, feel free to let me know in the comment section. And that is my character. Oh, I guess we have to fill in this, right? So my name, Gary. Our character's name, I have decided on Eldar. His class is Commander. His ancestry is half elf, half human. And his level is 1. His combat mastery is 1. And with that, we have a complete character all ready for the mysteries of the Lost Mines of Phandelver, which I am very excited to hopefully have the opportunity to play. And with that, I hope you keep rolling with us. I'll let you know how the campaign goes, and I'll see you next time.